Welcome into another edition of FutureSox podcast. My name is Elijah Evans, and I am joined today by White Sox right-handed pitcher Tanner McDougal. Super excited to have Tanner on with me today. Getting to check in with a handful of players in this past few weeks, and none has been quite the story of Tanner McDougal in the White Sox farm system this year. So super excited to have him on and just talk a little bit about the season. How you doing, man?
Good. How are you?
Doing good. Appreciate you taking the time to join us from Biloxi, right?
Yes. Yes.
Thanks, man. So we'll kind of get into the weeds of it in a little bit here, but overall, just how you feeling? You're at a July, 3 months into the season at this point. It's obviously just this from the past couple of years. It's a long season. It takes a toll on you for sure. This is your first kind of month or so now with Birmingham. How's the season been treating you so far?
I mean, it's been good. Obviously, I mean, I've had a lot of success this year, which has been great. Last year was a tough year, so it's been nice to have like a year where I feel like my feet are finally fully under me, and I can like just worry about pitching the ball and not worry about everything else.
Yeah, totally, man. So, not to harp on it too far, but what are some of the things that you feel like you learned off of last year when you were kind of just had, some ups and downs? Obviously, you had good moments last year for sure, and there's still plenty of, positive signs from the season. But what are the things that
Mhm.
you kind of learned from that experience last year that have kind of brought you into the off season in a place where you were just ready to continue to improve?
I mean, just getting sent down obviously is never something that you want to have to go through, but I think it taught me a lot. One, like as a baseball player, but also like mentally. I think it taught me more than I thought it would have taught me about just like worrying about where your feet are and just being the person that you're meant to be, not trying to be other people. Um, and like that was just my biggest thing was like I just am gonna go to the off season and just go back to being Tanner McDougal and not worrying about what else what else is going on around me.
Yeah, 100%. What are some of the things that you in the off season kind of did to just get yourself in that space, whether it was the physical side or the mental side, just kind of getting yourself back into a place going into the spring where you were doing better?
Yeah, I went to Cressy this off season for the first season or the first off season of my career. So they helped me a lot. I got in with their pitching guys, got in there with their pitching lab, and kind of revamped some things, messed around with some grips, stuff like that. And then I also did all my like off season programming there too. So I think
Nice.
that was big. Just working on things that truly had an impact on my game rather than just kind of going through the motions, doing lifts without a lot of like structure.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense, man. Is there something you did, beyond the physical side on the pitching side? You said you messed with grips. Was there any particular, mechanical aspects of your game that you were adjusting, or was it more the execution side of your grips and your movement profiles?
I mean, the mechanical part, like that, kind of always was what it was. It was mainly just like executing pitches to my spots, throwing pitches that were always competitive, shortening the misses because I think a lot of the problem last year was I had very like sporadic misses,
Yeah.
which would make it to where I couldn't get back in counts because guys would just shut down because I missed by so much. Where this year I've had a little bit better um, control with the misses, and if I'm missing this year, most of the time it's not because of a mechanical something or whatever it may have been. It's just because you're throwing it to a spot and you just miss your spot by 3 4
Yeah.
inches, not 2 feet.
What are some of the things that you were doing to try and shorten those misses? You said that right. Is it setting up in a different place? Is it kind of starting your pitch in a different spot, or is it just finding more feel for how it's moving and then being able to adjust from there?
I think a lot of it's just finding more feel.
Yeah.
I think I finally feel like I did when I got drafted. Obviously, I had Tommy John, so like,
Yeah. Of course.
and I didn't think the it would take that long for the feel to come back, but I think it just took me a little bit longer. Um, and also just trusting my pitches and then adding the slider last year, like it was just kind of a lot. But I like this offseason, I just wanted to like I started throwing earlier this offseason too, so that
Yeah.
I could throw more with all those pitches. And just get a feel for them earlier before I like stepped on the mound for the first time, and it wasn't just like, oh, we're on the mound, like we're gonna start spinning curveballs and throwing
For sure.
sliders. Like it was like we were gonna spin them and catch for 2 weeks before we get on the mound.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. So that for you mentioned the Tommy John, right? Like how for some guys, right? They come back and they have that instant feel. They kind of just get in their groove, and then there's also way more guys that it does take longer. At what point did you feel like your
Mhm.
kind of arm was just fully? You say really this year you're mostly comfortable. What point did your arm just feel like itself again after that?
My arm felt like myself probably last year, like the physical side of it, but like pitching side of it felt like myself in spring training.
Yeah,
Like it felt like everything finally clicked up and like synced up to
yeah.
where it was like, okay, like I know where everything's going when I'm throwing it, and it's like, okay, like the strike throwing is not going to be a problem this year.
Yeah, and that's obviously been a huge difference for you. I mean, the effectiveness of your stuff has generally been pretty strong for a while, right? But the ability to keep stuff in the zone has been even stronger, and then that's led to even more actual effective of the strikeouts and the just the dominant stats in that regard, and the walk rate
Mm-hmm.
has come down a lot for you. Talk about the arsenal a little bit for me because you fastball, curveball has always been kind of your bread and butter, and then you talked about adding that slider. What has the slider done for your mix and the addition of? I feel like the changeup has been a little bit more consistent this season. What have those
Yeah.
pitches kind of done to just round out the change the dynamic of the fastball curveball?
Well, I think the slider helps everything play up because it's not similar to my other pitches. I throw
Yeah,
it pretty hard. It looks like a fastball. It's a great out pitch. The curveball is always a curveball. The problem is it's just big. So it's like,
yeah,
if you tunnel that with a fastball up in that curveball or whatever it may be, of course it's going to work. But the slider helps, behind in counts, early counts. Um, I wouldn't say necessarily as a steal strike pitch, but as a strike pitch, just because that curveball is so big, I think sometimes it's more of a swing and miss pitch rather than a strike pitch, and the sliders
right.
help me get that pitch where it's like I can jab with that pitch when needed. Um, and then the changeup, I haven't thrown it as much this year. It's
Yeah,
like I think last week was the first time I threw it more than twice in a game, and it's mainly because it's my fourth best pitch. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
I don't want to get beat, especially by these better hitters with my fourth best pitch. There's just no reason to do that. It's pretty stupid to
for
just
sure.
throw a pitch that you can get beat on. Um, but it has come a long way from where it was at the beginning of the year. And I'm
Yeah, no,
getting more feel for it, but at the same time, like even with more feel for it, I just don't feel like there's a need for me to throw it as much as I do my other spin options.
yeah, I was gonna say I noticed it a little more recently. I feel like in Birmingham, I've noticed it a couple more times. But I think that it's there's something to be said for just the idea of like throw your best stuff. I've talked to some guys before where it's like sometimes you just got to simplify it and say, hey, look, I've got three really good pitches. I got to throw those three pitches more than anything else.
Yeah, totally.
Um, and then so the slider is more of a gyro slider, right? Is that right? It's kind of more of a
Yes.
short one, right? So is that something that you think, particularly the shortness of that slider being kind of around that zero vert, zero horizontal mark, does that play up against the curveball particularly well with that kind of? It's a pretty unique mix these days to have that more slow, bigger curve and then that short slider like that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. I mean, there's two completely separate pitches. I have
Yeah,
the big one and obviously the short one, but I think it plays good just because it looks like a fastball. And it's not,
yeah,
and it's not very late. Like it's a fastball and then it's not late. So I think that plays up where like the curveball, like guys might see it, but they're still swinging and missing at it because it's breaking so much and
yeah,
or whatever it is. And like it's also been a weak contact pitch this year. Like two strikes, if you throw it, like
yeah,
majority of the time they're just going to beat it into the ground.
yeah.
Where if I didn't have the slider, they wouldn't have something else to worry about, so they could sit on that curveball and just kind of keyhole it.
Yeah,
So
100%. That
it's
makes perfect
helped
sense.
give that element of like surprise and something else to worry about
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, just adds another layer to what the hitter's thinking about when you're running stuff. Another thing that I think has just elevated your arsenal even more. I don't know if you know this, but your last start you were 99.1 on average with the fastball, touching 100, 101. You've always had some velocity in the tank, but it definitely seems like you've ticked up this year in general to
Yeah.
what you've been at velocity wise. What are some of the things that you did, or whether it was intentional or just kind of getting bigger and stronger to continue to get that fastball up in velo?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think it's just bigger. Like I've just gotten bigger and stronger. I mean, I haven't changed
Yeah,
anything. Again, I just think my mechanics are working the cleanest they've worked in my career this year, and I think it's kind of showing within my pitches and stuff like that. Like I hit 100 in Winston, and I was like, okay, like cool, like whatever. But then I think that following week I hit 101, and it was just kind of like, I didn't think that was there. I pitched at
Yeah.
96 to 98 for so long, and it's just like that's just how hard I throw. I mean, I can't throw any
Right.
harder. So the fact that we've gotten to that this year, it's cool. But like at the same time, like younger me would be super ecstatic about it, stoked about it. But like now, it doesn't necessarily matter to me. Like I just want to pitch, throw strikes, and get people out. Like I don't care how hard I'm throwing or what the metrics say. Like if I'm getting outs, I know I'm doing my job.
Yeah, 100%. That's what you have to focus on. But it is obviously, it's a cool thing for your, you say your younger self, right, to be looking back and be like, oh, I've gotten better and I throw 100 now, and that's kind of a cool benchmark number, obviously.
Yeah,
But
very
the
much
outs
so.
matter more. Has your fastball always had a lot of kind of rise and run to it? Because I know it has a decent amount
Yeah,
of horizontal break to it. Has it kind of always been that shape, or is it a shape you've kind of improved upon over time?
yeah. I mean, I've always been right around, but I mean,
Yeah.
in high school, I threw sinkers as well. So I threw
Okay.
sinkers and four seamers. Obviously, we didn't have the analytical side of it in high school, so
Yeah.
like I didn't know what was necessarily going on. But now it's just fours, but it does have a little bit of arm side run just because of the way that like the slot that my arm is at. But yeah, this year I've been able to control it a little bit more than other years.
Nice. Yeah, it definitely seems like it's got even more life to it velocity wise, but also just the consistency of where, the fastball is being able to spot all over the zone. Do you feel like it's a pitch you feel like more and more comfortable with getting your fastball in every part of the zone compared to the past few years?
Yeah, I would say so for sure. I think I have more control of one, my body, and two, just if we're trying to get to a spot, I feel like I can get to that spot.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. It seems that way. So you starting in Winston, obviously you spent a good amount of time there last year, and you start there this season there. What was it kind of once you got in the groove there in Winston? Was there things you feel like outside of everything we talked about, just the execution? Was there any kind of particular cues you found for yourself at that level this year to maintain that success?
Nothing really. I think I just caught my stride there for sure. I started
Yeah.
just gaining a lot of confidence, and then from then on, it was just kind of like, all right, go out and do your thing. Like you know what you're gonna do. Just go get outs. It sounds repetitive, but like
Yeah.
it's just kind of how it's been this year. Like as long as you handle what you can control, good things should happen. And sometimes you might get baseball because it's baseball, but
Yep.
as long as you go out and control what you can control, like odds are you're gonna have a pretty good good
Yeah.
outlook there.
Yeah, definitely. What's it been like getting to Birmingham now? So you 13 starts in Winston, come up to Birmingham. You've made four starts there now, and four very impressive starts so far. What's the transition like been for you? Just getting it to the next level, getting with some guys you've probably known from earlier in your years in the system too.
I mean, it's been great. It's been a goal. It was a goal for me last year. It was a goal for me this year, and it's great to be here. It's great to be around a lot of guys that have been up here, that are older, that have a lot of experience within it. But at the same time, I think it's also just nice to be around good competition, um, where you have to be, you kind of got to be on it every day. Every hitter, you got to be on it. You can't take a pitch off. Like, it's been very good for me to have to be have to compete every pitch, every out, every inning, like constantly, and then being around guys who push you to do that. This group is like obviously like a really good group. They know how to win, and like this team chemistry here is really really good, and everybody pushes everybody to be the best version of themselves. And I truly think that everybody's rooting for each other.
Yeah, man, that's a huge thing is being around competition that continues to push you in every which direction. Is there any particular pitchers you've been able to kind of just either throw with or just be around that you like getting to watch or just feel like you're taking some things away from so far, whether it was in Winston or in Birmingham?
Yeah, I mean my throwing partner here is Hagen, so like obviously it's great to throw with him. He's got good stuff. It's kind of nice to push each other. It's just like little stuff like that kind of pushes you to the next level that you don't realize it because you're just having fun. But then in the long run, in a 3-2 count in the sixth inning, when you got to get out, you can throw that curveball you need and execute it or whatever it might be.
Yeah, it's definitely a big, value to be around that type of competition. Is there, how has it been with the coaching staff there? I know obviously some new guys there that have come in. Everybody in this organization has sort of moved up the ranks over the past couple of years here. What's it been like with a new staff there at BM?
And John coached last year, so it was good to know them come in. This is the first time I was with Nikki, and then Millie we had rehabbed with when I first got here because he was with us, and then I was with him at the end of the year in Kannapolis last year. And it's honestly like the vibes are amazing here. Like everybody's just happy to be here. Everybody wants to win, which is like very very nice because everybody's pushing for the same thing. Everybody's pulling in the same direction. It's not there's no clashing. Not that there ever is in this org, but it's very nice to have like everybody pulling on the same road.
Yeah, definitely. The energy seems great in Birmingham. It's been that way for the past couple of years. Honestly, it seems like there's very good vibes there among the clubhouse and just the team in general. For you,
Yeah, very
one
much so.
last thing here off the baseball side, I always like to give kind of a little bit of a spotlight on you. What are the things you do to keep yourself kind of just balanced outside of the game and just keep yourself rolling when you're not focused on baseball?
I mean, I play a lot of video games. To be honest with you, we
Nothing
all
wrong with
play
that.
every night. We've been playing the show a lot. Obviously, college football just came out, so that'll be something that we're all playing. And then
Yeah,
play a little bit of Rocket League with my brother. So that's kind of how I
nice.
stay in touch with him. Just because he's been busy, he's been training too. So yeah, pretty much that. I mean, we golf a little bit, but it's been so hot that it's
Yeah.
not even enjoyable to golf. And I'm also not good. I just go balls of money, so I just stay away from it. But yeah, I mean, we usually go to a little dinner on Monday nights on the off day with a few of the guys. You know, hang out, do that, and then get ready for the week.
Awesome, man. Well, really appreciate you taking the time to hop in and talk with us a little bit. It's been awesome to watch the way you've developed this season, and we're excited to see as everything keeps going for you the rest of the year and heading into next year, man.
Of course, thank you.
Yeah, appreciate you.